Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 7. And this is going to be my review for episode 15 for this season, otherwise entitled Training Day. Obviously, spoilers, if you're not watching the episode, go watch it, but I need to apologise for last week. I didn't upload a video. I was away. Some of you guys would know that, but yeah, so sorry for that. I got a ridiculous amount of comments saying, Pagey, where's your review? And then also trailer breakdown. I was just away from home. If you watched my Flash review last week, you would have known I got home like 5 minutes before Flash started. So yeah, I just wasn't home, couldn't get a review out, and yeah, that's that. But in regards to the last episode, we did meet Dante, and what's his name? Diaz decided to, well, he didn't decide to, it wasn't his choice, I guess, but he got burnt alive and died in his cell. We'll talk about that. Actually, we'll talk about it right now. Okay, in the comics, Dante is the leader of this group called the Ninth Circle. What the Ninth Circle does is that basically, in the comics, it's more like dipping in lava and stuff, and like burning skin off. But essentially, they burn their members as like a initiation process. So I think that's what happened. That's what's happened here. I don't think Diaz is actually dead. I think he's been burnt alive as like sort of some like Ninth Circle tie-in, and I think we'll see him come back. I could be wrong, and I'm happy to accept that. I just think his death, if that was his death, was a bit lame and just pretty bad. So I'd like to think he's just burnt alive, but is still alive, if that makes sense, and comes back. But essentially, we start off the episode by seeing this training day. The episode title fits in, and for the first bit we'll talk about for the new recruits, which include Team Arrow, and yeah, they basically, it's just like, you know, it's almost like a professional basketball player going and playing high school basketball, if not like little like junior school basketball. It's just like, you're definitely out of your league here. Why are you here? But basically the big thing around this episode centered around these like skin melting bullets, which I thought looked pretty cool. Like the effect that they did was pretty cool, and just like it infects the bloodstream and stuff like that. I thought it looked pretty cool, but they're like the main sort of, oh, we need to stop them, and that's that for this episode. Now, one of the sort of surprises in this episode was Bronze Tiger was here. So we see Laurel go meet with Bronze Tiger or Ben Turner, and it's the whole discussion around this, the death of Diaz, because Laurel hears about it, so she goes to, you know, investigate it. Now, Bronze Tiger says that Diaz is dead, which, once again, sure, we'll wait and see if that's actually a thing. And they're being really, like, suspicious around it, which just makes you think he is alive. Anyway, but he will reveal who, lit Diaz on fire, but he wants one thing. He wants to see his son. Now, he sees his son come in. I think his name was Dylan, from the top of my head. I think it was Dylan. But I called this before he even showed up, and then when he showed up, I think it was confirmed. And it's obvious that this Dylan, Bronze Tiger's son, is Connor Hawke in the future. Like, we're all on board with that. It's obvious. So Bronze Tiger's probably going to die in the next couple episodes, or towards the end of, like, maybe one of the last episodes, and then Diggle will adopt his son Dylan, and then maybe for protection purposes, he'll take the name Connor Hawke, or maybe in the future that's just the name he uses, Connor Hawke. We don't know, but we know from, I think it was last episode, the episode before, that Connor Hawke in the future is Diggle's adopted son, you know, compared to the Legends future where that was just John Diggle Jr., who we have on the show right now, but then that was before Flashpoint, so it's all confusing. But yeah, to sum it up, it looks like Bronze Tiger's son Dylan is Connor Hawke in the future, who was adopted by Diggle once, I'm assuming, Bronze Tiger dies in the later parts of this season. But once Bronze Tiger gets to meet his son, he reveals that the person that actually burnt Diaz was Emiko, well, the new Green Arrow, but obviously Laurel knows who that is. So it's Emiko Queen, and wow. But we do get like a couple of like fight scenes or action scenes in this episode. The first one when it's like, Team Arrow as like the Star City officers go to try and stop like the skin melting bullet weapon trade sort of thing, which doesn't go that well because you got a conflict of like ways to go about things, and they go the cop way, which is just the destructive and not very well done way. And we do see Dinah try to use her cry, and it's almost like it's running out of battery. It's almost like, yeah, like a flashlight running out of battery. I was like, oh, that's a terrible impersonation. But you know what I mean? Like, it was really like up and down. It was just like almost like it was running out of battery. That's probably the best thing I can say that to compare it to. But as I said, like, this whole fight brings up the whole discussion of like the SCPD way, which didn't really work, or the vigilante way, which worked, but like, you know, it doesn't have that much merit, so it's hard to hold up in court, and it doesn't really provide that much like solid evidence because you are threatening people, like we saw Oliver with the Midas dude holding him over the bucket of acid. You know, he might just say stuff so you don't put his face in acid, you know what I mean? But this whole SCPD versus Vigilante wave comes to a head when we actually see Team Arrow like reunite properly, and by that, we saw them like a couple of episodes do that, but like they're all suited up. So Dinah's back in her Black Canary thing, which, have we seen her that way this season? Did we see her once? Can't even remember, but we have like, I don't know if we've even seen her this season with it on, but she's back wearing it. I'm excluding the future stuff obviously as well, but she's back in it, kicking ass, not having to use her cry, and it's basically like Dinah sort of being like confident because she got broken down, like, oh, I'm the Black Canary and stuff like that, and my cry doesn't work. So we see her, you know, a bit more confident, which is obviously going to lead to the future stuff where we see her being this canary without actually having her canary cry. So some development there with Dinah. But this all leads into like Team Arrow being like this new like operative force, I guess you could say, for the SCPD. I think even Renee says like, oh, we're the Star City Black Ops essentially, but they're running out of the Arrow bunker. So we're basically back to how we used to be on the show, but then it's sort of like a loophole. I'm not the biggest fan of how they've gone about it. It just seems like, oh, we needed to like make vigilantes illegal, but then we also needed vigilantes to be on the show. So I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's okay. I just think it's just like, oh, okay, it's just very convenient that they're allowed to go and do this and basically go back to the exact same way they were. But, you know, I can't nitpick it too much. It's just something that just, I'm just like, I don't roll my eyes at it. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, it's not that exciting, and it's just average. But they're working out of the bunker. Speaking of the bunker, it got, you know, renovated and fixed pretty quickly. Gonna say who when it was, did they call Barry? It's like, oh, look, dude, we're screwed. We're really busy. Look, we know you built a building, you know, a couple of seasons ago. Can you come and build this bunker? Like, it's not as bad as that building. Just, mate, hurry up. You owe me one. Like, it's almost like that. That's what they said to Barry Allen. He came and fixed the bunker quickly. But back to how it was before Diaz just destroyed it. But the last thing of note to talk about in the present day was actually Laurel encountering Emiko and basically going, I know everything. And Emiko's like, well, they're not going to believe you. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of that goes about and whether they actually do trust Laurel. Next episode, we'll talk about the future stuff in a second, as we always do. If there's future stuff, we talk about it at the end of the episode. But obviously next episode is a full-on future episode. There's no present day stuff. It's literally, it's not in just 2040 as well. I think it's like, it's just points in the future after the present day, if that makes sense. So it could be like, you know, 6 months in the future, but mainly in 2040. But, so I'm thinking the Laurel Emiko stuff is going to be saved till episode 17, I think. I think it's actually an episode where Laurel sort of like goes to Oliver and like, you gotta believe me, and stuff like that. So, gonna be interesting to see how long it takes for Emiko to be exposed, because she hasn't actually been in the show that long. So, yeah. You think Oliver might trust Laurel more because he's no longer. Anyway. But speaking of the future scenes, we'll go there. So we do see William and Mia team up. They're the only ones in this episode from the future. So everyone else got a week off, I guess. But we see them go to this like a black market, I guess you could say. And I'm sure most of you guys would have noticed, but that was so obviously the prison set. It was like they didn't even like... It was so obviously the prison set. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, the prison set. They didn't even like make it look that different. But anyway, they got to reuse the set. The prison set looked like it was expensive to make. Reuse it. I think they used it again previously for one thing. I think it was a fight scene. I think it was a fight scene from a previous episode. They reused the prison set but covered some of the stuff. But yeah, that was the black market was the prison set from like the first 7 episodes of this season. But essentially they're hunting for a cassette player, like a mini micro cassette player to play that tape that they got last episode. Was it from the Rubik's Cube? Is that where it came out? Anyway, so we know there's an important message on there, and it's basically we need to find some sort of device to play it. But I must say, $500 for a cassette player? Bargain? Jesus Christ. What? The future? That's like a relic, and it's cheaper than it is nowadays. Gee, like, wow. William, bargain hunter. Just get him on one of those shows. But speaking of William, he's a bit of an idiot as well. He's just really, just clueless. Like, really, just clueless about his surroundings and stuff like that. But he's also a genius, because he does that really cool thing with his, like, futuristic smartwatch, where he basically taps into, like, the frequency of the SCPD people. So I thought that was pretty cool. But we finally get to hear what's on this tape. We all knew it was a message from Felicity, but I was like, okay, well, what is this message from Felicity? And she actually gives out coordinates, and these coordinates, we don't know specifically like what room it is or what building it is, but we know wherever it is, it's in the Glade. So that's where we're going. The 2040 episode next week is going to be in the Glades. It's going to be pretty interesting to see more of it. We saw some of it, but it was pretty like basic. It didn't look that different. I'm excited to see what it looks like in there, the people in there and everything like that. I know some people do complain about the future stuff. I don't mind it personally. I think it's interesting to get like connective tissue from stuff that won't be properly explained in the present day or that we'll never see and stuff like that. So I'm fine with it, but I can understand why some people don't like it. But for me, you know, it's a winner most episodes and I enjoyed it this episode as well. But overall, actually going into this episode, going by the trailer looked pretty bad for this episode. Like, or the trailer made this episode look pretty bad, or at least pretty average. I wasn't looking forward too much to like the whole training day thing. But that's literally like the first like 5 minutes of the episode. And then after that, it's just more like the typical SCPD way versus Vigilante way, which we've had in previous episodes. So I was actually pretty surprised in this episode. Obviously wasn't expecting Bronze Tiger, which is pretty cool, and like the revelations, everything there. So overall, this was actually another win for this season of Arrow. But going in, I thought it was actually going to be probably one of the worst episodes. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, it would be awesome if you could drop a like and it show your support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on this episode. Did you love it? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you hate it? Or did you just find it average? Let me know in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.